Bianca Raquel Russo, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Devin.
It's always a good time with Bianca, and I am just absolutely thrilled to talk about health span with you today. You're actually one of my favorite people to talk to about health, and health at every size, and just like thriving no matter who you are, how you are, how you want to live. And I always like to start business in the front on the podcast. So will you talk about how people can work with you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I will give you that. Here's a mirror. Same thing. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. I love being a guest on your show, so thank you. I'm Bianca. I have been a trainer since 2017, so over 8 years now. And I am shifting into being a lifestyle consultant. So I make a ton of content on social media. All my socials are hi.biancarusso. And you'll see me using fun toys and tools to get movement in. That's way more fun than like your boring kind of weight room type of movement. And everything is on my website, biancarusso.com. And I'll also soon be offering version 2.0 of online training with me.
Yay. And that is associated with your GOATA merch, which you are
Yes.
wearing right now.
Yes. Greatest of all time actions, depending on who you are. Also, the acronym also is greatest of all time athletes. And it's all about what you see here. It's changing your lifestyle, like sitting on the ground. So in addition to being productive and being on this podcast with you, I'm sitting on the ground, and this is a great way to mobilize my hips while we're, you know, making the things for the people.
I was telling Bianca during our pre-party backstage that like I always think it's such a compliment when people hang out with me and like just do what they need to do with their bodies. Like I was hanging out with a new friend who was just like rolling around on the floor in the forest, and I'm like, that's what I love.
Like posing.
Yeah, like posing, like stretching, just like doing what your body needs. Because we're like, if you were a cat, the cat would be doing, or you would be doing whatever you needed in your body at that moment. Dogs do it too.
Yeah.
Like, you really witness your pets like modeling what it's like to just live in a body and respond and react to what the body needs at any moment.
Yeah, and just like going with the flow. I mean, like you just saw me just kind of get silly on the ground, and one of the things I like to do is just go with the flow. And this is one of my favorite tools these days. It's just called a flow rope.
Mm.
You, if you anytime like if I'm getting fixated on something that doesn't serve me, like the news, for example, I'll pick up a flow rope like this, and it's just like skateboarding. How like skateboarding is a kinetic puzzle. I'm like, okay, how do I do that move? And I'm completely absorbed in the moment with this tool, not getting anxious about the news or something that's not in my immediate surroundings. So getting present and going with the flow is like what I'm all about right now.
I also want to say, like, when you first were getting into GOATA, you were posting stuff on your social media. This is like over a year ago. And I tried to listen to a GOATA podcast that you had posted, and I couldn't because the guys were just too broy. And like, what I love about it is like, you take the broy stuff and then make it accessible and easy to understand for someone like me who like, I can deal with some locker room talk, like, and a good book or something like that. But like, yeah, I prefer it coming from a source that like aligns more with my values and how I perceive bodies and people.
That's the point of their program. Like having, the director of education is a former NFL quarterback. Like that doesn't speak to everybody, but as a coach, being like, I love athletics, I can get on that level. But then all these other go-to coaches that have gone through the certification, like me, they bring their own style, they bring their own personality and flair to connect with whoever their market is to spread the glorious go-to methodology because it is for everybody who has a body.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And it's like it's one of my passions too. It's like I'm very passionate about like the physiology of high performance and like how to just like make little tweaks in the body to do things that are good for us and nourishing for us and like not feel annoyed by it because,
For sure.
as a young fat kid, like I thought that all exercise made me a failure. And so it was like I've had to do a lot of work around my brain. But I
Yeah.
also understand that like, oh, I just deeply need things to be fun because I was always meant to
Yeah.
be an aerobics instructor and like create fun movement for people.
Well, before we met online today, I went for a run and oh, I just had a brain fart. 1 second while I come back online. What the heck was I going to say? Something to the effect of I went for a run and then like came home, took a shower, and like got on Zoom with you. And I think I was going to say something like, well, I wanted to get like my stretches in after my run while my body was still warm. And the way that I can do that is like ground sitting, practicing sitting on the ground. Like when we sit in chairs, there's somebody, I heard this can be controversial. It speaks to me. It might not speak to everybody, but they were talking about how we're in like a sitting epidemic.
Uh, yeah.
And I like that because like I've never sat in an airplane for 8 hours and then got up and felt great in my body. You know, like I believe in my anecdotal and lived experience, sitting in chairs like makes my body feel compressed and like stiff. But you know, when we were children and when we were growing up and when our bodies were developing, we were sitting on the ground all the time. You know, so I'm sitting on the ground right now and like this act of defiance to my chair is a part of my lifestyle. And you were saying, I remember, we're back, girls, we're back. You know, like finding ways to make it work for you. That's like, okay, so this is crisscross applesauce, cross-legged, whatever you want to call it. Once it starts to get stiff for you, you want to know what the best pose is? The best ground sitting pose is the next pose. So as soon as you feel like you're uncomfortable in your body, you just do a different pose. You know, let your body then kind of stretch out here. And once this gets uncomfortable, the best pose is the next pose. So maybe you want to this is called cowboy. You know, and the pressure and this is a normal human way to rest. Like if you've seen on Instagram, like people in Thailand, like in rice paddies, like they sit like this is a normal human movement. And then when that gets uncomfortable, the best pose is the next pose.
So just for people who are only listening to this podcast, Bianca's got one knee down, one knee up, and then switched the other way, and then still low to the ground, and then now both knees down.
So this would be like a child's pose, but
more on the calves than the knees. Like we're not.
Yeah, on my shins.
On your shins. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be like a child's pose in yoga. You know, and then when that gets uncomfortable, sit crisscross, but maybe with like a meditation cushion, so you feel a little more support.
Yeah.
Or like child's pose with this here. And the reason I like that is because if I, in my lifestyle, create a habit to sit on the ground, not only does that naturally mobilize my hips in ways that are wired in my DNA, because when I was a little kid, just like everybody else, like we were crawling and we were on the ground, but like it means that if I can practice getting on the ground now and getting off the ground, if I make that a part of my lifestyle, I'll always be able to get up and down off the ground even as I age.
Yeah.
And I want to be independent and strong as I age. So why not start habits now? It's never too late to make good habits.
Yes. And that is exactly why we're doing this episode, is to be independent and strong as we age. Because we're living great lives.
We are living great lives.
That started this like hyper focus with Bianca. It must have been April, so it was like 3 months ago. I don't know. Life feels like it's hurtling by. April feels like it was years ago.
It does.
But like I went to this. I have an e-commerce business where I sell supplements and I help people live their healthy lifestyles. And there was a guy talking, like doing like a kind of a protein presentation, a digestion presentation, but he was talking about health span and like how we can help to basically, like, it's not how many years you get, it's how much you can enjoy those years. And like physically, like I've really believed in the phrase use it or lose it in terms of our bodies. Like that's proved out to me. And it's just like making all these little micro changes in life. And he threw out this statistic, which you have continued to support and shown me so much more than just what he said. He said your lower body strength directly correlates with how healthy you are. But it's true, not just in your body, but also in your brain. Your cognition is directly related to your legs. And it has like radically changed how I feel about walking upstairs and walking up hills and getting up and down off the floor, even getting up and down out of a chair and just like utilizing, instead of leveraging my arms, which I would if I needed that. But like if I don't need it, I'm going to use my thigh strength and like pull myself.
Yeah. There's a complementary statistic. They say like, you know, the people who have stronger legs, they're like thigh muscles or, you know, legs overall. Yes, it correlates with a longer lifespan, and also grip strength. Direct increased grip strength is a direct correlate with a longer life. Think about,
So like opening jars and stuff.
opening a jar, being able to carry your groceries, having the strength in your hands and wrists and your legs to get yourself up off the ground, out of a chair, out of a bus, whatever, onto a bus.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the leg strength to like get to the bus, like you're going to be more isolated. And that's like another thing. The more social that we are, the longer that we live, because we have brains and nervous systems that like align with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have basic needs, and a huge part of that is togetherness.
Yes. And what's interesting? I live in a retirement community, so I get to like really witness people's choices in action and the consequences of them. And there are a lot of people who still do live a long time who don't leave their house, and like just
it's incredible.
It's amazing.
But
and like what kind of quality of life is that though, right? Like is that
exactly to your point, what you said just a moment ago. Maybe we are living long, but if you're living a long and sad or long and painful life, like I want to live both long and high quality life.
I want to be about better and better as I age.
Exactly.
I'm feeling better and better and younger as I continue to progress around the sun.
These sayings are sayings for a reason. It's not about the years in your life. It's about the life in all your years.
It is.
Pew, pew, pew.
And I also just want to shout out that it is the life that you choose to live, right? Like it's not that like we just, I think a lot of us grow up living a life by default, other people's good advice for us. And one of the things I talked about this in a beauty standards podcast just last week, but like talking about like I love the trend of how like when celebrities go through body metamorphosis lately, they're talking more about like what it takes to do that. So like, especially a lot of men I've noticed, like they're like, I got in this great shape for this movie and I had a personal trainer. I had a personal chef. I had an acupuncturist. Lizzo was talking about a weight change she had with a problematic before and after pic, but she was like, I have lymphatic massage every week. I started eating animal protein. Like, and it's like all these things that require like a team of at least 5. I'm always counting at least 5 professionals. That's a lot of money and time invested in whatever body these people are trying to create. Right. And like, is that available for an average person? No. So is this the body that an average person should be expected to have? I say no. But we get to choose like how we individually just interact with day-to-day things, like where we sit, how we sit. I want to say this about getting up and down off the floor. I go very slow. Like I'm a slow-mo babe because like my blood pressure can like change really fast if I go too fast, right? So like
orthostatic,
I'm prone to fainting, and I know that about myself. So as soon as I start to feel dizzy, I grip something. I sit down. I lay down. I listen to this body because she is alive.
Yeah. I think that's a lesson that a lot of us are learning, like to go at our own pace. We don't need to run a 7-minute mile, like just because our gym teacher said that we have to do. Like it would be great if I can walk a 20-minute mile. Like
we don't need to run at all.
We don't need to run at all.
Like but jumping 20 times a day makes a big difference, and jumping is fast. You don't have to do that.
My point is, it's not about how fast you do it. It's about whether or not you try and then make a choice if that fits for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's never like a one thing for all, one size fits all, obviously.
Yes. And you can be like yuck about something and then revisit it a few years later and be like, okay, I don't think this is terrible anymore. Like just like Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Like, I used to hate them. Now I like them, but only if they're roasted and crispy. Like.
Oh my gosh, same. I love roasted crispy Brussels sprouts.
I love a cruciferous veggie. You know what I mean? And
like a broccoli.
Or like kale, or cabbage.
Oh yeah.
Yum yum yum.
Yum yum yum.
And I also make little lifestyle choices that make these things easier for me, right? Like if I take a head of cabbage and I shred it and I keep it in a bag in my fridge, I will use cabbage every day because it's available.
Yeah.
But if I have to do the labor of cabbage all the time, I'm not going to eat it as much. So it's just like finding all these little tweaks that just work for you that help you feel the way you want to feel. And like, if you don't want to feel healthy and spry, you're probably not listening to this podcast. But like, I want to give permission. Like, there is no healthism here. Like, there is no superiority for people feeling healthy.
Right. Right.
And also, again, health at every size is science, and you can be healthy at literally any size. And I want to
Yeah.
make that so clear. One of my favorite things when I learned about lower body strength, my favorite thing long before this was like with core strength, I learned like, oh, with core strength, like body weight resistance is a thing. So using the physical mass that you have on your body is like automatically like, I mean, just physically, it's like a person who's smaller than you having weight on them. Like people literally wear weight vests, right? So you have that advantage. And so how can we use that? And you taught me isometric lunges when I was talking about lower body strength. And now I do it almost every day, like 30 seconds,
That's fantastic.
just like getting into my thighs. I do
And
this,
it's hard, right?
it's not that hard. It's 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like it's like, eh. And
Rather,
if I need
I'm
to, I
saying
can
like,
hold on to something.
what I'm saying is like, you can sense that it's an adequate challenge.
You can feel it working.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say
Let's
like
go
it
back.
doesn't feel hard. If it felt hard, I probably wouldn't do it as much, but like it feels fruitful. And I'm like
There
30
you go.
seconds each side. We can do this.
I love that.
Yeah.
If you feel like you need a little bit more of a challenge, like to continually overload your muscles, like, right, muscles adapt. So maybe it's not hard for you because you've kind of reached you're now able to clear that bar of the high jump. And
Mm,
the body like wants, if you want your body to get stronger, then you have to raise the bar a little bit.
yeah.
So did I tell you to do this, Bevan, where you just like lunge and hold it?
Yeah. That's the isometric lunge.
Yeah, so this is like the isometric lunge level 1.
Uh-huh.
I want to invite you to try a new challenge next week if you
Great, great.
choose to. And if you don't choose to, that's also fine. With this like pulse, now it's like a little harder.
Yeah.
And so then you'll get even stronger. Your
Wow.
body will now then adapt to that.
Oh, I love it.
But I have to go back. We have to go back to Hollywood stars having 5 assistants.
Yes, at least 5
At least.
professionals involved.
Okay.
And that doesn't even, they're not even shouting out their personal assistants who are managing the schedule that it takes,
Right.
transportation that it takes to handle all of these professionals they're dealing with.
I think I don't know if this is right. Like, people in Hollywood, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like a part of that is probably marketing. Like now there's all these people that know that I'm going to be in this movie, and they're going to tell other people about it. But like me, I'm just a girl in Albuquerque. I don't need really like all that. But my 5 professionals that help me, once again, perhaps controversial, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is my personal assistant, my personal chef and nutritionist,
Oh,
my like personal trainer and coach,
wow.
and like remember, like if you pay the like $20 a month, it remembers you, and I find it really helpful to be like, you know. So actually, I was gonna say like how I use it as my nutritionist, but I'd rather not comment on that. But like how I use ChatGPT as my trainer is like, I'm training. This is me. Definitely not for everybody. What I like is I'm like into running now,
Mhm.
and so I'm like, I'm training for a half marathon. Last week I ran 5 miles. What's a sustainable build of my mileage so that I can continue to run long distances but not burn out? And then it'll be like doing deep research. I don't have to hire 5 people. I just hire one robot, and it's fine.
Wow. You are now number 5 of smart people I like who are using ChatGPT as a personal assistant that they're paying money to, um,
Yeah.
for different reasons. And I think it's really cool. Like, because again, like, I'm really adjusting how I'm seeing AI because it's like, it's a tool, just like cell phones are a
Yeah.
tool, just like a wrench
Right.
is a tool, right? Like, a ChatGPT can help. And it's also like, there's a lot to. I just want to remind people that people are very lonely in these times and
Yeah.
not the same as having a friend.
Just so in case you're just listening to the podcast, Bevan is hastily plugging in her laptop so that it doesn't die on us.
I didn't realize I had it unplugged and then it gave me the notice and it goes fast. So like you gotta like hop to it. So yes. Anyway, so I think AI is a tool, and again, the right use of technology is to enhance our lives and make things easier.
Exactly.
And
There's plenty of tools that people misuse. And I think one of the main ways that people are aware that people misuse ChatGPT is for like content creation or creativity, because you're not being creative if you're having ChatGPT write your blog posts. And that will be the downfall of people, because then you're not being authentic, and authenticity is a very strong frequency. And if you're not
Yes.
being authentic, then I don't have time for your content, because I'd rather read authentic things.
Same, full same, full same. And I also want to say the best way to support this podcast is through my Patreon page, patreon.com/FKDP, which stands for Fat Kid Dance Party, which is my aerobics class. For anyone who feels left behind by mainstream fitness, if you've ever been called too much, too fat, or felt too awkward to dance, mine is the supportive class for you. I am obsessed with teaching aerobics. It is my favorite thing in the whole world. I love that I get to do it. I have like a whole on-demand collection. I love that you're dancing during this. I have my on-demand collection on there. We have an incredible worldwide community that meets up on Zoom to do aerobics, and we check in about self-care after class, which I think is really a huge value add in these times where we can feel so isolated. But I feel so much closer to my clients because we get to talk about like just the evolving nature of what it means to care for ourselves and inhabit ourselves in these wild and wacky times.
I attended Bevan's aerobics class one time in Washington, D.C., and it was fabulous because in addition to the creative choreography, the excellent music, Bevan, you also give like micro lectures and makes me feel better about myself. And the energy is like the same type of energy I get from church is like the same type of energy I get from you. I just feel really great after. So if you haven't done Fat Kid Dance Party, do it.
Thank you for that, for that testimonial. And also,
my pleasure.
That was me in 2018, and I only get better every time. And so imagine me in 2025, how great.
Imagine.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I'm doing, I do Zoom classes. One is usually a low tempo, which I think I'm going to start calling it lit, because you're right, it is low intensity interval training. Lit classes during the week. So I do like a 15 to 20 minute class, and that's recorded for the on-demand membership. And then on the weekends, I do a 50 to 55 minute full length class. And I love it. I love teaching aerobics, and it's truly like, it's like the thing I was meant to do, and excited to be here.
On my post-run rant that I posted on TikTok and YouTube today, I was talking about, and this goes back to like, here's why you should do Fat Kid Dance Party aerobics. Like, as I said in my content today, for me, I run because not of what society tells me that I should lose. Rather, I run because of all that I have to gain from the experience. And the same is absolutely true for Fat Kid Dance Party aerobics with Bevan. Like, you have so much to gain. What a wonderful way to spend 50 minutes, an hour of your time with other people who are on the same page. And like, you're only going to get positive things out of it. You're not going to, there's no like shame or any nonsense like that.
Yeah. In fact, there's resilience. Like, I think spending time with me in play allows your brain to receive a level esteem for your body that you're not getting from mainstream media or anybody else.
And here's why. Because mainstream media, especially with the listeners, the type of listeners and the people that I typically work with, that's all rooted in shame and guilt and making you feel bad and literally traumatizing you. But when you are in a state of play, chemically in your brain, neurologically, you cannot be in a fight or flight frame of mind when you're in a frame of mind of play. It neutralizes and completely like mitigates that, which is healing and healthy for your lifestyle.
Yes, I love these factoids. Also, Bianca Russo, in our going back and forth about lifespan, health span, you're almost convincing me to start doing weight training and like picking up heavy things intentionally to help my bone density. And
well, here's what that can look like. You have groceries, carry them all in one hand one week, and then the next week carry them all in the other hand. Weight training and fitness doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be in a box that is solid lines. You don't have to go to a weight room. You know, you can just like, oh, I want to do some weight training, like in addition to carrying my groceries. You have a garden, you have buckets, fill them with water, and walk back and forth and water instead of from the hose, from buckets, because then you're nurturing the soil and your plants and things you're growing, and you're also nurturing yourself.
Wow. Okay. So I wanted to say this about my garden, because I love functional fitness because I just love being efficient. My Virgo rising is obsessed with it. And I've been going out instead of stretching inside because I need to do some weeding in the garden. I'll go out and I will just do my stretching weeding. Right. And so, like I'm intentionally leaning forward, stretching at the back of my leg, doing that little side stretch.
Let me show you something, Devin.
Please.
Anybody who's watching the video, um, as long as this doesn't mess up your blood pressure or cause you to get dizzy, this is a great way to, and not all the time, but like sprinkle it in sometimes. How, like when I'm picking up dog poop, because I don't garden, but I pick up my dog poop in the backyard, certainly we can like squat. So that's like one resting pose. That's a normal functional strength thing. Just you can allow your heels to come up a little bit and allow your knees to go out. And from the side, you can see like, I want my butt to go back. And then I'm like picking up dog poop. But then when my knees get tired of that, I have my feet facing forward. You know, if you know how to brace your core, turn your core on. If you don't know how to brace your core, cough. And that tightness that you feel in your abdomen is your core turning on. And see how, Bevan, when I'm hinging, how my ankles, my knees, and my hips are in one vertical line?
Yes.
And then if I float my heels a little bit, I'm getting a really great stretch in my hamstrings, the muscle in the back of your thighs. And because I'm floating my heels, my feet and my calves are getting stronger. And then when I stand up, I'm basically bowing or standing upright, and that's like a body weight deadlift. So again, you don't have to pick up weights to do weight training. You can just be smart about how you move through your life.
Yes. Functional fitness.
Functional. That was so cute. I love that you said functional.
I also I don't love weeding, and in fact it like kind of is annoying, especially when I have to do in great bursts. So like doing it little bit by little bit, like movement. Just
microdose the weeding.
Yeah, microdosing like bone density by jumping 20 times, every day. 20 times is so fast. It's like
it's so fast. It takes 10 seconds. Let's do it. I'm gonna do it right now.
Bianca taught me the 20-time jumping thing on a text message and just sent me a video jumping 20 times while like cooking spaghetti. Like it's really funny.
17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. This is the perfect ADHD podcast because Bianca's just doing so many things.
Sorry.
Okay.
Too much.
No, it's not too much. It's in fact a delightful more than I thought that you were gonna do, and I just thought you were just gonna stretch and roll around on the ground.
This is a fun thing to do in your lifestyle. Where you're like, I'm stressed from work, or what I just watched in the news was stressful, or someone had road rage and it like pissed me off. You can like come home and learn how to juggle. Just throw one up, and if you can do that, you're learning how to juggle, right? Because when I'm doing this, I'm absorbed in the present moment, and I'm no longer thinking about the things that pissed me off or made me anxious. Grounding. There's so many fun, playful things that we can do for grounding that's also intentional movement and contributes to a healthy lifestyle. Fun.
Intentional movement. Bianca, you had things that you studied for this podcast. Will you tell me anything?
Again. Absolutely. So let's go back to my use of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I like to use ChatGPT. I have trained my robot so that in the morning when I'm making my first bathroom, when I'm going pee-pee, I sit on my toilet and I tell my ChatGPT, give me my daily bread.
Oh.
And what it does is it gives me a verse of the day, because I like that. And it also gives me then a complimentary snapshot of a Greek mythological story.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, cool. Like I like thinking about this verse of the day to kind of like get me in a good mindset. And I like thinking about the point of the Greek stories. And then I was like, oh, I got to tell a Greek story, or at least share the abstract of a Greek myth that's relevant to healthy lifestyle and lifespan. So if I may take a couple minutes to read 300 words, I'd like to read to you the abstract of the myth of Asclepius. Okay, here's the abstract of the myth of Asclepius. In exploring, and I'm reading from ChatGPT just for full transparency. In exploring the roots of healthy living and longevity, we find powerful symbolism in the myths of Asclepius, the Greek god of medicine and healing. Born to the god of Apollo and the mortal Coronis, Asclepius was raised and mentored by the wise centaur Chiron, who taught him the sacred art of healing. Asclepius became so skilled that he was said to restore the sick and even bring the dead back to life, a gift that eventually led to his death by Zeus, who feared that immortality would disrupt the balance of life. Yet Asclepius' story did not end there. Deified after death, his name became synonymous with the healing arts, and temples known as Asclepia were established across ancient Greece. These were not just clinics, but early wellness centers where people fasted, bathed, slept, and dreamed, trusting that health was a process of restoring harmony between the body, the mind, and the divine. One more paragraph. This myth reflects a timeless truth. It reflects a timeless truth. Health is not merely the absence of illness, but the presence of alignment with nature, with rest, with intentional practice, and with belief in our body's capacity to heal. In modern life, we often separate medicine from lifestyle, but the Asclepian tradition reminds us that longevity comes from honoring the rhythm of life, not fighting it. By grounding today's conversations on lifestyle and lifespan in ancient wisdom, we can begin to see health not as a race against time, but as a sacred act of participation in life. Last sentence. Asclepius invites us to reclaim our role as active agents in our well-being through movement, rest, nourishment, and spiritual awareness.
Okay, I love that. And also, Asclepius, isn't the symbol the same thing we see for like medicine, like that little...
Yes, that's correct. The snake around the staff. That's correct.
Yeah. Something I want to bring in, since we're talking about ancient wisdom, is free game from the universe, just for asking, right? Like, I think, many people call it prayer, but you don't have to believe in God or believe in anything to use prayer. You can just put it out to the force that's pumping your heart and making the acorn turn into an oak tree. But I believe we have ancestors and guides who have been through tumultuous times like we're going through now, who want to help. And one of the things, like, I love this prayer, I call it prayer, is let my helpers find me, and like that kind of like puts the energy out to like connect to the people on earth who are available to help you, but also the energies that can kind of help give you the inspirations for like how to handle these tumultuous times, and like, I also like to pray for relief. If I tell you, like, don't think about an elephant, like what pops into your head?
Elephant.
Right? So like, that's how our brains work. That's how our bodies work. That's how everything responds to like what we say. So you want to say what you want, and relief.
Exactly.
Usually what we want. So like, I don't want to feel pain isn't going to make your pain go away, but I want relief. I want comfort. I want peace. I want ease, right? Like those are things that are like antidotes to the anxiety and all the things that like, mainstream media is profiting off of us feeling, because then we need to go buy things and consume in order to take care of that. And I'm a big fan also of like health and supplementing diets and things like that in order to avoid having to deal with disease and illness, which is getting more and more expensive. Like, frankly, I cannot afford to get sick. So I want to maintain my wellness for efficiency.
Prayer doesn't resonate with everybody, but there's so many different ways semantically to frame that. And in order to make this concept more relatable or accessible to all different types of people. What we're really talking about is like a mantra or your focus, mindfulness, right? Like if you don't believe in God, then prayer isn't going to resonate with you. So for all the atheists out there, I love you. And like what you can think of this as is mindfulness, right? And so like, to your point, Bevan, 100%, here's how we can take it further. Instead of saying like, I want health, look, there's plenty of people out there that might relate to this, like traumatized people. When we're in a state of fight or flight and we're like actively in the depths of our trauma, the things that our mind are focusing on bring the trigger sensations back up, right? So if I can think myself sick, why can't I exercise mindfulness to think myself bliss? So for me, the way I really try to take it further is instead of saying I want health, I just convince myself and fixate rather on the traumatizing things from my past, which made me sick. I'm going to fixate my mind on the things not only that I want, but as though they're already mine. In other words, embodiment. I am healthy. If I can convince myself of these negative things, why can't I convince myself of these positive things? And when we were talking backstage, you're like, the battles of the mind, right? Like, it's definitely not the serene meadow of the mind. Like, it's hard. It takes effort. the human condition is, the human mind is conditioned to definitely, like, especially in modern society, fixate on all the negative. So resist, exercise your resistance. And, I've personally chosen to stop watching the news because it doesn't serve me. It doesn't, like, I know what's going on, and I still choose to fixate on other things, because if I'm angry or anxious and then I multiply that as an angry driver or as a bitchy daughter or as like an unkind partner, how am I contributing to world peace? So when I block out the news and I focus more on the things that make me feel good and happy and of the light, then I can contribute to world peace. And it really just comes down to discipline of the mind. That is very difficult to do, much easier said than done.
Something that Joan Baez talks about, and now she was speaking truth to pseudo power right in the 60s as a folk singer. But she's got a lot of decades of experience. She said she likes to spend 95% of her day not paying attention to what's going on in the world around, and then 5%. So, like, right, like, imagine that you've been fighting this battle for decades, and, like, that, I think, is a good health balance, because most of what we do anyway is just in the present moment. And then, like, being a little aware, if that makes sense to you, right? Some people, like, for their health, for their sanity, need to be not aware at all. And I support anyone doing whatever they need.
Same here.
I know it's privilege to be able to focus that way, but, like, if that's what you need, your joy energy, your suffering doesn't alleviate anyone else's suffering, but your joy energy literally, because that energy can be just, energy gets to move around. And
exactly.
Energy is very buoyant.
And I think a lot of people have way more privilege than we might even want to give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
And like, knowing about things that are going on halfway around the world, that 1% of my day, encourages me to dig into my positivity so that I can be more compassionate to those who are immediately around me. Yep. But if I fixate 95% of my day on the things that are going on halfway around the world, and then I get scared and I get anxious and I get angry, I'm actually just magnifying the war.
Yes.
And I don't think that I'm into world peace. I'm into spreading love, spreading world peace. And my way of doing that, and there's no right way of doing that, is, exercising defiant gratitude. Even when things are hard for me, I'm like, I can dig deep and figure out something to be grateful here, because that's how I'm going to reclaim my frequency and my vibes. And even if I'm just walking past someone on the street or like through the grocery store, if I have a better frequency, that's better for growth and expansion than if I have a weird vibe and people are like, ooh, like that made me feel bad. So that's just me.
Yes, I love it. Bianca, Raquel, Russo, was there anything else that you studied for our podcast that we want to be sure to deliver?
Let's see. I sent you like 7 reels all about, leg strength, correlating with bone density,
resistance. Now, so that later in life you don't fall down and break your hip, right? So
and here's why that matters, because like you said, Bevan, use it or lose it. If a lot of people don't like gyms because it makes them anxious and they feel like you're wasting them, but like if you like where you are right now, you have a backpack, you have some books, put that on your back or hold it in front of you, and as you're walking upstairs and downstairs, you can hold that, and that's adding resistance and helping your legs to get stronger. Because as you develop more muscle, the matrix of your bones becomes more dense, and therefore your bones are more have more structural integrity. When your bones have more structural integrity, you are less likely to break that bone, right? And like when you are less likely to break a bone, you're giving yourself insurance for independence later in your life.
Yes. Anything else we talked about?
Let's see. I think one of the most accessible things that everybody can do to enhance their daily life experience and create a more healthier, balanced lifestyle is breath work.
Ooh, yeah.
And you can start by asking yourself, have I taken a deep breath this week? You can like let your shoulders relax down away from your ears. And then if you want to take it further, you can just go on YouTube and look up simple box breathing. or breath work for beginners. And a box breathing practice that again gets you completely grounded in the present moment is the 4-4-4-4 method. So inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold for 4. If you do that for 5 minutes, all of the volume of your blood has completely circulated through every single cell in your body. If you breathe intentionally for 3 minutes, that happens. So if you do it for 5 minutes, you've done a full cycle and then some. I learned that from a therapist when I was deep in the depths of my mental health crisis. It's like, oh, that's cool. Because when I breathe, oxygen molecules travel throughout your red blood cells. And if I deliberately breathe fully, all the way in, all the way out, and all the volume of blood has gone through every cell, that means like oxygen is life. When all your cells have more oxygen, you feel more relaxed. You feel a little more focused. You feel a little more calm. And that's free. You don't have to buy anything to do that. You can just breathe mindfully.
Breath is how we tell our bodies how to feel. And the best breath work instruction I ever got that made it feel really accessible to me is just focus on a longer exhale.
Yeah.
And full.
Get that carbon dioxide out of there.
Yeah. It's on my, I use the Finch self-care app, which is a little bird, and it has breathing exercises in it. But one of my daily habits is just doing 3 deep breaths and checking in about that.
And no one likes to be told to smile, but there is science behind when we do smile, it does send chemicals to the brain that are associated with happiness, serotonin, oxytocin, and all these kind of dopamine positive things. So I like to do my breath work and smile.
Oh, I never thought of habit stacking in that way, but you're right.
Habit stack it. Here's another fun game that people who are watching the video can get. And if you're just listening, I'm making a peace sign with one hand. And with my other hand, I have the number 1 up. So I'm going to point to the peace sign. Okay. And then the challenge is to switch. Point. Look at your hands, Bevan. You have to have the peace sign in the left.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So point to the peace sign. And then point to the switch, and then switch, right?
It's harder than it seems.
Exactly. So there are so many nerve endings in our fingers, right? Our fingers is the primary receptor for our sense of touch. So when we do this, a huge amount of our brain is activating, and it's a kind of a gamified thing. Your tongue is sticking out. Look how cute you are. Dig out here. So we inevitably laugh at ourselves, and when you laugh, again, there's hope chemicals being released throughout your entire bloodstream. So pointing to the peace sign is something I learned from an occupational therapist on Instagram. But I was like, as a trainer myself, I'm like, okay, what's a level 2 and what's a level 3? So we talked about how the nervous system, you have a lot of nerve endings in your hands.
And your feet.
And your feet, of course. But right now we're just using our hands. And when I'm using my right hand, the left side of my brain is activating. When I'm using my left hand, the right side of my brain is activating. If you know anything about the hemispheres of the brain, when you cross your arms, now your brain has to coordinate. Okay, wait, now I'm going to point away from the peace sign. So you still have the same, now point away. Exactly. It's such a glitch, right? Because your brain is like, okay, coordinate the hands. They're now across the midline of my body and coordinate. Okay, so that's level 2, pointing away from the peace sign.
And also,
it's a fun game.
Dance party people, this is why we do self-hugs every day, because of crossing our bodies.
Okay. Now, for people out there who want even more of a challenge, this is much more difficult because the fine motor in our pinky fingers and our ring fingers is much lower. So point to the pinky and ring. Boom.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Look at your fine motor skills, though, Bianca Raquel Russo, pickleball champion.
So those are simple games and playful little things that you can do no matter what age you are. You can do it if you're 72. You can do it with your granddaughter. You can do it if you're 22, and it's healthy. It's fun. You're adorable when you do it because look at your lips are going in 2 different directions. When we laugh at ourselves and we have fun and we're more playful, you're investing in the longevity of your life and you're raising your mood.
Wow. And imagine if you were doing this with friends.
Right.
Because we're doing it with friends.
We're friends.
Oh my God. Bianca, I'm so grateful for you. I want to just shout out
for you too.
Our other 2 episodes. I'm going to put links to them in the show notes. I really want to encourage everyone Tips for mental health spirals. I think it's one of the most helpful podcast episodes I've ever produced. Of 200, 201. This will be.
Congrats on 201 episodes, Bevan.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me as a guest. Again.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for being and just existing in the world, because I think your mere existence is magic. But then also thank you for giving, because you really
Thank you.
have, I mean, being self-employed is, I mean, we were talking about this backstage. It is not for the faint of heart. And you have really persevered as an incredible personal trainer, doing it differently, doing it compassionately in the world. And
Thank you.
See pew 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 magic coming.
Pew, pew, pew. Definitely check out those other episodes that Bevan just mentioned. Please follow me on social media at hi.biancarusso on all socials. And one of the things that I'll be posting about next week, I'm going to be a guest on an Instagram Live next week with my friend Morgan. Her Instagram is Victoria's Public House. It's a riff on Victoria's Secret, kind of revealing the revealing the ways that we can work with the rhythm of our menstrual cycle, whether you're perimenopause, postmenopausal, and just continuing to give and support each other wherever you are, no matter what age you are, to enhance your lifestyle and your lifespan and your health span.
Yes. Ah, high five for self-care.
High five for self-care.
Yeah.